Daytrippers, brought to you by bookmakers.com.
Good evening, welcome to the Premier League forecast. It's me, Chris Brack, it's him, Luke, the Wrexham fan, and today we're joined by Patrick and we're joined by Kev. Sorry, Luke, you're never going to live that down.
Such a troll.
I know. Today's show is sponsored by bookmakers.com. There are bookmakers who will help you find the best deal. But if you do use them, remember, please gamble responsibly. Can't even say that. All the details are in the link below. And if you're not into gambling, it's not your thing, that's fine. Check out the YouTube show. Gav's on that once a week doing preview shows. And also, it's pretty good also for your football stats and your sports stats as well. I will pre-warn you, I've checked with Luke, I've checked with Patrick, I've checked with Kev. There's no cats, there's no dogs. We're not going to have a repeat of the original few shows. So we have no fighting from animals. Maybe from us, but maybe not from animals. So, Kev, how you doing?
Yeah, mate, all good, yeah. Just loving life as a Man U fan. Everything's great.
You're in the title race? Or you don't want to stick your neck out that far?
We are. We're about
Good
that
man.
in it.
Man, you are the only
flowing.
one that said we're in a title race.
If you're
The
5
rest
points
of
off
you
the
lot are like,
leaders, how can't you be? There's like 14 games left, we're 5 points off. Like, how can't you be?
Let's be fair. If we were in that position, we'd definitely be saying we were in a title race. So, listen.
First United fan that I've heard that said that we're in a
And
title
also,
race.
I saw a stat. You know, if you remove Brighton and Brentford, we have accumulated the most points since then. Like, we would, if you remove those two games, we would be top. Like, if you remove the first two games for everyone. So, I have no reason to doubt the team or the manager. So, I'm all in.
There you go, Luke. You've depressed everyone now. Well done for that, Luke. Thanks. Patrick, how are you doing? Good to have you back on.
I'm good, thanks. How is everybody? Good?
Yeah, we're good. We just don't talk about Europe and then we're all fine. All grand. So, listen, just to depress everyone, let's start with the cup final because, it is the biggest game of the weekend. It's Man United versus Newcastle. Newcastle are going to have Loris Karius in goal, doing his Instagrams, doing his posing. He might even play in goal. You never know. Versus, let's be honest, one of the most informed clubs at the moment. You can't deny it, Luke. United are flying. They're playing to a plan. They've got a manager who knows what they're doing. It's really depressing if you don't like Man United. But it's what a lot of us have been saying. The talk of the Glazers, I get to a point. But there's a lot of this going, is something just because they've now got a manager who actually plays to a plan, tells big players to fuck off when they're not doing the job, and will also, by the looks of it, will kick up with the owners when he needs to say, I need this. You don't get me that, then don't blame me. But they're a bastard to break down now, and they've got loads of pace on the break. It's kind of, it's kind of what United have needed for a little while, and it's kind of painful. Where they're going.
It's painful to watch, but he's done an excellent job since he's come in. Because when he got battered by Brentford 4-0, the pundits were like, he's not going to survive for much longer. But the fact that he's turned everything around, the fact that they're 5 points off the top of the league is depressing to watch. And he's managed to deal with the big egos. And I think the fact that he had the power to turn around to Ronaldo and said that you're out of here, I don't want you here, and the owners backed him, that was probably the most worrying thing for me, that the owners trusted Ten Hag to make the call to get rid of Ronaldo. So that was Ollie or Ragnick, the owners would say, no, you're having him, and basically shut up, because he's going to be starting every week. So I think that I worry that he's got that control already to say to players, yeah, you're not wanted here, and they can leave.
Patrick, is it maybe that the owners, whoever's running Man United day to day, has actually gone, well, we keep backing all the players, we keep swapping the manager, it's not working. And I can imagine Ten Hag said, if I'm staying, it's on my terms. And he's going to turn around and say, if I tell a player he's off, I don't care how many shirts he sells you, I don't care how good he is for you, he's going. And listen, he's made Ericsson was already doing well at Brentford. Ericsson in the centre mid have been brilliant for them, and he's revitalised Fred. He's done a lot of players who also we're probably unsure about, sort of kicking on to where we want them to be.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with what he's done there. I mean, even Palace looking at Wan-Bissaka, we wanted him back. But since Ten Hag got there, he became a real player again. And now, obviously, we never get him back at Palace. So I've always rated Ten Hag as a manager. I think he's done a great job at Ajax. Didn't want to go to Man United for obvious reasons. I knew he'd do a good job there. But what he's done there in a short amount of time, he spent money, but not spent a lot of money. And then got players like Sabitzer in on loan and Weghorst on loan and done a great job. So got to give a lot of credit to him, even though I don't like United. He's done a great job. And the great thing, if they ever get real owners, they're going to be that much more of a force, for sure.
Yeah, I think, Kev, the thing that needs to fix now is probably the structure above the manager, which is, I can understand Man United fans where, yes, you do spend money. You can't say you don't. You do spend money, but there's still sometimes in the transfer where you've sort of looked and gone, well, you guys we all thought you guys were getting, the bubble Liverpool at the moment. Gakpo and Nunez, we thought were coming to United, and it all looked like they were pretty done, and it felt like they sort of slept to them or left it a bit too late, which is still probably an annoyance, I would say, if you're from United. I mean, listen, from the outside looking at it, it's funny, but that can't keep happening. At some point, that's going to click where they go for a target and they get most of the main target. I mean, they did it with Casemiro, and you kind of can see what you get when you get the right players.
I think it's been one of them for us where we just notoriously take way too long to sign absolutely everyone. We did it with Sancho. With Anthony, we should have only paid about 55, 60 mil. We waited too long. It's just a notorious thing that we do. Edward was useless. And then they brought in John Murter, who's just as useless, in my opinion. Yeah, he's got some decent signings over the line, but again, we've overpaid for pretty much most of them. And I would say, again, it's the same issue that it just takes too long.
Which is probably what knackers your January window, which is probably why you did look at Weghorst on loan, because
we just didn't have the money in January. Like they said that we never planned on buying Casemiro Anthony. They were going to leave it there. But after Brentford, we got battered 4-0 and they panicked and bought them both. But that took all of our money. We literally have none, like to spend for January. So that's why we did loans. We just didn't have the money.
So, but Luke, they're playing Newcastle side, who, I'll be honest, form-wise have dropped off a little bit. I mean, I think they said for the last 6 games, they're like 11th in the form table. They've only won 1 in the last 8, I think it is now. Now, listen, they've only lost 1 as well. So you can spin a stat either way. Awful lot of draws. Probably draws that you're sort of going, probably in the form they're in, wouldn't expect them to get. Now, losing Ramirez to suspension is a bit of a blow. Willock, whether he's unfashionable or not, gives them the energy they need, which I think which frees up Joe Linton. So I think having Ramirez back, losing Nick Pope for the final though is an absolute killer for them. As funny as it was, I mean, I'll say it now, it is one of the funniest red cards I've ever seen. I needed Benny Hill music. Honestly,
Chris,
he tried to knock himself out.
As soon as he did that, I was like,
he couldn't help
the second he got sent off, I was like, well, that's Loris Karius in goal.
I don't think a lot of people remembered about Dubravka either, did they, with the cup tie?
Yeah, Dubravka's
the commentators definitely didn't, because they were half an hour later going, oh yeah, he can't play either, can he?
Yeah. That means he got Loris Karius? Oh. Well, that's going to be interesting. No, but I think with Newcastle, I think it's very unlike an Eddie Howe side to be defensively solid at the back, but not score many goals. I think Newcastle's issue since January has been the draws have been they're not been taking their chances. Callum Wilson's dropped off a little bit. I think Almiron's that golden touch he had that before the World Cup sort of dropped off a bit, and I think Isak's been slowly bedded back in after injury, and I think that's been their biggest issue. And like the Anthony Gordon signing in January still makes no sense. Still makes no sense now how Newcastle spent £40 million on someone that has got the same amount of goal contributions in the Premier League as he's got yellow cards with 10.
I think the reason they went for him was
crazy.
Outside looking in was, I think they thought they needed another pacer option. Maybe not to be a starter, but St. Max's injury record isn't the best. It's not great. And then you sort of going, well, he's out, and then Isak's still coming back from injury. I think they just looked and went, more than anything, we needed a bit of depth. And they're thinking, he's proven to do what he can do in the Premier League. He'd be fine as a squad option, and he's young enough that they can do that. They can try and develop him. And it was always going to be a big fee because I'll be honest, A, Everton need the money, and B, they're in a relegation battle. So if they're going to sell a good player, they're going to sell him for a whopper fee. I don't expect them to start the final.
If they wanted to sell him for a whopper fee, Chelsea were offering 60 in the summer.
But I don't think they expect
a whopper fee.
I don't think they expect it to be in a relegation battle.
No.
Yeah, but Bruno's definitely back for the final, so that's going to make a massive difference. Because
he's only been out because of suspension. Joe Willock is touch and go with a hamstring injury.
I imagine it'll be
Joe Linton is also a doubt.
Joe Linton and Sean Longstaff in the midfield.
To be fair to Longstaff, Patrick will come to you. Longstaff seems to have a bit of a revitalisation, I would say, because he was when he was linked to Man United. I think he was linked to Chelsea a few years back, and he looked like the next up and coming. So then he sort of dipped out for a couple of years, but he seems to have sort of kicked on again a little bit, which is nice to see when a young player sort of does that.
Yeah, I think he's had a good season. He played against the recent game against Liverpool. He played in that game. I think the midfield is going to be the key. I mean, you're looking to go in up against Casemiro, Bruno, and I'm guessing
Fred.
It'll be Fred.
Fred. Where Fred will be the third. You look like Joe Ellington, Bruno, Guimaraes, and Longstaff. They can match up with them, but again, the issue is going to be, you're right, scoring goals. And we played them 3 times. They haven't scored against Palace all season, which is strange. We didn't score against them, they didn't score. We played Newcastle 3 times, they didn't score against us or them, which is very strange. And they've got goal scorers, but again, Alexander Isak was injured. Wilson's in and out of the lineup. So they've got to find some way to get some goals on Sunday. Because without scoring, they're not going to have any chance to beat United, because United's bound to come up with a goal from someone, whether it be Anthony or Rashford's touch and go. Maybe he won't play. That's actually going to be key. Rashford not playing actually evens it out a lot, I think, because
it does.
Not having that key striker is going to be key.
Because as good, look, Anthony's goal was good, really good against Barcelona.
Sure.
But I don't know, Kev. Outside looking in for £90 million, has he done enough? Because he can't accept it's not his fault for the fee, but there's an expectation. If you're paying that level of money, you expect. I don't know. I would expect a bit more output from him.
Yeah, I spoke to Kev about it last time. I think that generally the people that don't really rate Anthony, I just don't think really watch him as alone. Like for us, it isn't actually just about the goals and assists. He brings so much balance to the team. His defensive work rate is incredible. We look so much better with him in the team. With him and Dalot early on when he first signed, those two look really good together. Like he just brings so much balance for us. Now, admittedly, goal-wise, you would want more from someone that cost £80 million. I'm not disputing that, but I think we've got a young man.
It's just because you're a side that you are a side that's renowned for creating a lot of chances. So you would naturally expect someone of his ability to, if he's not scoring, probably creating a lot of them, because that is how Man United have always played in the past, and how they usually play is pace and skill, which will get them the opportunities. I don't feel like he's done as much as I thought he was. Whereas Rashford, to be fair to him, probably from about November time was really kicked on back to the level that he could do a couple of years ago.
For me, with Anthony, he hasn't the quote unquote assists. He hasn't got as many as I would like, but he's like I said, with the way it kind of all balances out, he always seems to be the guy that passes before the assist. Like we had one against Leeds, I wanted to go 2-0 up. He played a lovely little 1-2, I think it was with Fred. He plays it to Garnacho, and then I think Garnacho gives it to just taps it off the Shaw cross. Like he played a lovely little 1-2, created completely opened up their team. For me, I think Anthony is. I love him. Like I'm not on the train of I think he's bad. I think he's young. He's new to the league. He's in a league that's a completely different quality. I think.
Oh yes, it's not saying
quality.
It's not saying he's bad. It's just saying.
Oh, I know.
Perhaps was expected a bit more than we've seen so far. But like you said, some players takes a year to really kick into the league. I mean, Kev rightly points out he only turned 23 this month, and there's a lot. He has got a lot in his game, which for someone like a Dan Burn, who is the world's tallest left back. To cause him a lot of problems. He's a really good defender, but he just doesn't look right as a left back.
See how much Man U miss Anthony when he's not playing on the right wing. Like the balance of their attack massively is effective when he's not starting on the right wing. When they put Bruno out there or Rashford out there or Garnacho out there, it's just not the same when Anthony's in the team. It makes the whole front line more balanced. But I think goals will come next season once he's used to the league, bulks up a little bit more physically. But yeah, I think Yeah, I think 90 million pounds is definitely a massive overpayment. But as Kevin said, if United did their business quicker, then it'd be 50.
Yeah,
and I don't think there'll be such
we never meant to pay
expectation
that for him.
Yeah, he'd be 50, and I'll be honest, he'd be 50. You probably would have bought Gakpo in the January because you'd have got the deal done sooner. Or you're not someone of that.
I never wanted. I was very honest from the start. I tweeted it out. I never wanted Gakpo. We have enough left wingers who don't really know if they want to play left wing or if they want to play striker or if they want to play right wing. Like,
well, do you know what I mean? But you'd have got someone of that.
You'd have had the spare money. Yeah, no, I agree. And
it
was the same with Casemiro. If we'd have been smarter about it, we probably could have got him for 50 instead of 70. For me, it's just one of them. I think Anthony will come good eventually. And yeah.
Go on then, Patrick. What do you think the Newcastle side will be? And do you get who you edging for in this? How do you see the game going?
Be honest with you, if Pope was playing, I'd give Newcastle much more of a chance. Just the fact that they've always been all season very solid defensively. I just don't know what you're gonna get from Karius back there. I just thought it's a wild card. He could have the match of his life and redeem himself at the Champions League final, or exactly as Luke said, or he could just be Karius and he hasn't played all season. So
hasn't played in 2 years.
Hasn't played 2 years.
Exactly. Right. I mean, so it's the thing is that obviously Newcastle need to win a cup soon. I mean, they have won a cup final. Was that? I think is it the
67 years?
67,
Apparently,
right.
when you walk into the training ground at Newcastle, they have that poster in front of them to say that they haven't won a trophy for 67 years to inspire them. I'm not sure that inspire.
Yeah,
some goes that could go two ways. That could inspire you, or that could really put that'll put really the pressure. Go, fuck me, better win tomorrow. Oh no,
Right.
You know what I mean? You can really put that pressure on you.
Yeah, so I mean, they've got that pressure of not having won in a long time. They've got they've been backed financially by their new owners. They've got a very good manager. So the thing is, they don't have the experience of a perfect example. They don't experience that that United have. United have people like Casemiro, big time player for Real Madrid who's won Champions League, La Liga. That whole, they've got players that won the FA Cup. I know because I was there when Palace lost to them 6-7 years ago, 2016, De Gea and stuff. So, I mean, they've got players that have that experience. So, I think it's going to be very, very difficult for Newcastle. Honestly, I just think that the occasion might get the best of them. If I look at it, so.
Everyone's on pins now, Luke. They heard your cat's coming.
Let the cat be ready.
No, it's my dog walking around.
The dog was huge, I saw it.
Yeah, it's my dog walking around.
So, what score you go for, Patrick?
I mean, honestly, I really like Newcastle to win, but I'm going to go 2-0 Man United.
Okay. So far in the chat, we've had a sneaky 2-1 Newcastle. We've had a 2-2 Newcastle on pens. A comfortable 3-0 to United. So a bit of a wide range. Luke, what are you seeing?
Unfortunately, I'm going to put 3-1 United.
But
I really hope Karius has the game of his life.
I do too.
Stops United winning a trophy and to keep that drought going a little bit longer, he might just redeem himself for the Champions League.
Listen, my heart says it's 2-2. Karius wins the penalty shootout. I think United win 2-1, but it might be extra time. I still would be surprised if United
Chris comes up for a last-minute corner and doesn't Alisson heads it in. That'd be great.
Do you know what? If he does that, that'll be the one time he catches it. He'll be like, "Oh no, that's the one time you're not supposed to catch it." Oh, what are you doing? Come on, let's let Kev have his moment. It's his team.
For me, I think it'll be 3-1. I think it'll be comfy. I think we'll be chilling. One thing I wanted to say about Anthony. I think once we actually have a proper striker, by the way, like someone to distract from the two wingers, he'll be a lot better as well. But yeah, 3-1. I think Anthony will score. I think Sancho will score, and I think Fernandes will score. So,
I was with you. Until you said Sancho score, I was with you then. But then,
whoa! Don't diss my boy. He's been balling out recently.
He's been out. I don't think
he's been balling. You didn't see him at Cam, mate. He's a demon at Cam. I love
number
him.
10, yeah, number 10 now, isn't he?
He looks incredible.
Good.
Leicester.
Yeah, there you go. What's Kev saying here? And it's obviously advantage. Newcastle were easy for us to get at. They were. I mean,
there was no Bruno in midfield, and Joel Linton played DM. So
he did a good job at the end.
To be fair, though, Newcastle were down to 10 men and played pretty well second half against Liverpool. So you got to give a little bit of credit.
They opened Liverpool up.
The the big key for them was that's. I don't know, it's always my thing with St. Max's. He actually had end product. He was cause of problems. The problem with St. Max has always been it's which one turns up, and generally six games out of 7, it's the one that runs a lot, does a trick, and then overhits his cross. The amount of Adama Traore is the same. You know, he's got the same problem.
Clones.
Our midfield will dominate theirs. I'm not even worried about that. Not even worried.
I think they'll be looking. Well, we all know Newcastle sit deep and hope to hit the break with the pace because that's their game plan. I mean, to be fair, it's a good game plan. It's worked quite a lot this year, so don't blame them. Yeah. Let's see. What did the other games finish? Fulham Wolves was 1-1, so that'll be interesting. So I couldn't care less. It sounds the most dire game I've ever heard in my life.
It wasn't that bad. I watched it. It wasn't that bad.
Before we go into game 2, then don't forget our charity for we're doing this year, which is raising money for breast cancer awareness. We've got 12 Dublin ladies who've never ran a marathon before are now training to do the Dublin Marathon, which just sounds absolutely horrific. That sounds the most painful thing to do, but fair play to them because that's a hell of a thing to do. So the aim is to get to 20,000. I think we're getting close to 3 now. So whatever you can give, please give. So details are in the description below. So if you can give, please give. If you can't give, just share the link around WhatsApp groups, work groups, email groups, because you never know who you'll find, and that's all it takes sometimes. You find the right person, that'll be the money they need. So cancer's a horrible thing. It touches far too many people. So what we can do to help raise money for that, let's go. Let's see what we can do. Luke, so we've talked about the cup final. Kev's all happy. Kev thinks they're going to win. It's going to be really depressing to be on Sunday. So let's talk about something that's going to make us all laugh. Let's talk about the relegation battle. Leeds versus Southampton. Leeds have just announced a new manager, former Watford manager. Southampton
ain't going to be there because he's got work permit issues. So
never mind. And Southampton have just confirmed their assistant manager, or the guy who got the win over Chelsea, is going to look after until the end of the year.
Yeah,
they're currently on the form guide. 16th is Southampton in the last 6 games, beating Chelsea last week with James Ward-Prowse doing what James Ward-Prowse does is just ridiculous free kick. And Leeds are rock bottom of the form guys in the last 6 games.
Yes, it's not Liverpool anymore. Yeah,
Liverpool are currently 13th.
Yes, so mid-table.
We're coming mid-table. So, what do we think for this? Because to me, I watched the Leeds Everton game, thinking this will be funny. This will either way. Oh my god, I didn't think they'd be as bad as Everton, but they were awful. I mean, it was a terrible game, but brilliant at the same time because both sides were shite, and the winning goal was across the game. The winning goal was across the game. Yeah, and the winning goal was across. I didn't. Yeah,
because I might have lost years off my life watching Leeds Everton, but yeah, Leeds have been bad. They've been really bad considering the money they've spent. They've been really bad, and I don't know whether or not this appointment of Javi Gracia is going to keep them up because I know he got Watford out of the Championship. I think he got sacked in the Premier League.
Yeah, he got to the I think he got into the cup final where they got battered by City.
Yes,
but he did get Watford to a cup final, which doesn't happen very often. You've got to
good manager. But like with Southampton, I think Southampton have just confirmed their relegation with the appointment of the coach that beat Chelsea because Southampton have probably been the worst team in the league this year. And I don't think Ward-Prowse's set pieces is going to keep them up because he's their only goal threat this season. It's going to be a really shit game.
Jake's just saying that breaking news: if Liverpool win the second leg 4-0, Gav's going to join and do the marathon. Even if Liverpool won 8-0, I don't think you're getting Gav doing the marathon.
If Liverpool win 4-0, I'll somehow do it. No, I won't.
Oh, it's on camera now, mate. That's it. We've got that right.
That's how confident.
That's a verbal contract. That. So, Patrick, how are you seeing this game? This feels like it's going to be quite a. This feels like last on match of the day sort of game. This.
Say that.
Yeah, I mean, most likely. I mean, Javi Gracia is a decent coach, manager. Ruben Selles is the new Southampton manager. He's brand new. How they won last week against Chelsea, I mean, I do not understand that. Great goal by Ward-Prowse, but but it's Chelsea. Exactly. All that money can't win a match.
I mean, to be fair, that Southampton block right at the end where he celebrates it like a goal. Fair play. because he knew nothing about it. It's the best block I've seen.
It was. They're both really poor. We lost to Southampton somehow in the FA Cup this season. Don't know how we lost to them. They're just really poor. Nathan Jones was well out of his depth taking that job in the first place.
I was studying. He even got offered the job.
Exactly. He lasted much longer than he should have.
He's a bit of an oddball as well, wasn't he? He was
a Luton manager. Then he had a period at Stoke where he was awful. If you hear what Ashley Williams that was at Stoke said about him, he was awful. Went back to Luton, did all right, then got the Southampton job, and he was awful.
Yeah. Leeds have a couple of players I do like. The two American players, this midfielders I like a lot because they did a good job at the World Cup. I just don't see anybody winning this match. I think it's going to be like a 1-1, 0-0 type of match. I just don't see anybody winning it. Although that helps neither team, obviously being 90 for 20 right now on the table. But I just feel two new managers. I think they'll be happy in their first matches, or second matches in one case, just to get a point and get out of there. But someone has to win that match. Honestly, they're both in very, very bad shape. And Southampton has a little bit of momentum from last week. But I just don't see anything more than a draw in that game. Honestly, tomorrow, I just can't see it.
Kev, by your body language, I could tell that this is the game you're going to be glued to at the weekend.
I'm actually looking forward to it. I was listening. I was taking.
I sat here going, "Oh, this sounds like the most depressing game I've ever watched in my life." Oh no!
You know, I love the Leeds downfall. I live for it, just like I do with Liverpool. I live for the Leeds downfall.
Makes sense, yeah.
But I actually do think Leeds are going to absolutely batter them. I think Southampton are awful. I think Wilfred is a very solid player. I think, like I said, I think the two Americans in midfield are very decent, especially Weston McKennie. I'm a big fan of Weston McKennie.
Yeah, I love him. Weston's got another.
Who's the winger they've got? Who's that winger they've got? That's him.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying. I think he's wicked. I think he'll run them ragged. I think Southampton are one of the worst teams I've seen in the Premier League in a very long time. I think they're dreadful. I think James
been around too long. Time to go.
James Ward-Prowse is generally the only Premier League level player in that whole team.
Interesting to see how much he goes for in the summer when Southampton
get like 25 mil because
where he goes to. Where he goes.
Most clubs would be happy to have him. I'd be happy to have him. I'd take him.
I've banged this drum for a little while. I think James Ward-Prowse should be in the top 6 side as a squad.
Yeah, Liverpool. Yeah.
If he's on the bench for Liverpool, Tottenham, but he could be at Chelsea's. He could be at Chelsea's bench because they've got 7,000 players. So
too much. There's lots of space.
Do you know what I mean? But I think any of the top 6 sides, if he's on the bench as a squad option, I don't think he'd go far wrong because he covers a few positions.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I think he starts. I think he starts with Tottenham.
He might. That's what I mean. I also think, like I've said it partly tongue in cheek, and people sort of make it like, is that not your James Milner replacement?
Younger Milner, yeah, exactly.
Just comes in, does a job, but. You know, he's also got a set piece specialism, which for the last 20 minutes, that's not a bad option to bring on.
I don't think he'd accept that, and that's the reason why I don't think he'll go to the top 6. I think he'll end up somewhere like a Wolves or.
Yeah, I mean, it's up to him.
I was going to say Everton. It reeks of another Gylfi Sigurdsson. We've
just said he's not going to go to Championship. We've just said he's not going to go to Championship club, so it's fine. We don't have to worry about Everton.
Yeah, I'll go Everton.
Go on, Luke. What score are you going for this?
You know what? I'm going to be optimistic and say Leeds win. I'm going to go 2-0 Leeds. So I want Everton to get dragged back into the relegation zone this weekend. So
we'll talk about that in a minute. Kev, what have you got?
4-1 Leeds. I'm all over it.
4.
Yep, they're going to batter them.
And they've got good attacking.
Southampton are terrible.
Patrick, what are you going for?
I said I'll go for 1-1 because I don't think either of them going for enough to want to lose that match, especially Leeds at home. So I'm going to go for 1-1. Ward-Prowse will score either penalty or a free kick, obviously. He always does for them. So.
Yeah. I'll go for 2-1 Leeds, but Southampton will take the lead, and Leeds will score a late winner. Just because I think that's how it's going to go for Leeds. It's just going to be an absolute roller coaster, which friend of the show Joe is just going to absolutely hate. But you know, I'm sure as long as they win, he'll be happy. Right, let's do the quick fire round then. We'll just literally got 4 games, or just a score. Don't need much else. Bournemouth, City, Luke.
5-0 City.
Kev.
2-1.
Patrick.
3-0 City.
I've got 2-0 City. Talk about relegation battles. West Ham versus Forest. I'll stick with you, Patrick.
West Ham Forest.
Just so you know,
1-1
Forest,
again.
Forest are 5th in the form guide for the last 6 games.
You just ruined my pick. I was
They
going to come up
spent
really.
enough money. They should be 5th in the form guide. I mean, they spent a lot and they got a decent manager. But I mean, I'll go 1-1. I want West Ham to go down, so I don't want to win that game.
Okay.
2-1 Forest.
Okay, I've got 2-2. What have you got, Luke?
2-0 Forest.
Stick with you, Luke. Leicester, everyone's favourite manager, versus Arsenal.
Oh.
A lot of character in this game. Come on.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Arteta.
Yeah, Arteta will probably run on the pitch screaming and shouting at people. You know,
What does the...
Yeah.
You know that? The little gif of him taking the mick out the substitutes line.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's so insufferable. Come on, Luke. We said quick fire.
Arsenal
2-1. Thanks. Patrick.
Arsenal 3-1.
Kev.
Leicester 3-2.
Oh,
do you know what?
Back in the chat, back in the race.
I predicted Leicester 3-2 against United last week.
Do you know what? I'm going to go 2-2.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 2-2. I just I think the pressure's starting to tell on him.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I think he's also realised it's hard to win a league with 14 players.
I agree.
Very rarely happens.
And James Maddison, one of the best players in the league, just saying it, he's a baller. So
yeah. Okay. And last one, Everton versus Villa. Luke at Everton.
Villa 2-0.
Patrick.
Everton 2-1.
Kev.
Everton 1-0.
I'm going to go 2-1 Villa and continue to score the winner just to really piss him off.
Yes, please.
That's about the only time I'll be quite happy with him. So, doing knee slabs at the Gladys Street end.
He's been terrible for them, by the way.
He's absolutely...
Yeah. And Liverpool fans have said that they wanted him back. I never wanted him back.
Well, he has got that chronic back condition. It's very hard, to play football with a chronic back condition. I've heard. Unless you're on a long distance flight, then it's all right. Then so, all sorted. Right. So the build-up before the final is Spurs, who are 9th in the form guide, against Chelsea, who are amazingly only 15th in the form guide. It feels like Chelsea lose every week. It feels like Liverpool and Chelsea doing a competition of who could be the most shit. They're having a good go at this. Luke, this sort of feels like this is a game Spurs have to win or should be beat. They should be beating Chelsea. This would be the best opportunity, I would say.
It should be, but this is the history of the Tottenham. It would not surprise me if Chelsea go and smash Tottenham, and it's the kickstart that Potter needs. I don't know if anyone saw Potter's press conference today, the highlights. He came out with some great jokes. He said, "Sorry, I'm late. I just came out of a crisis meeting."
Which is partly funny, but part's going, you probably should do that joke when you've got a couple of wins under your belt.
Yeah.
To be fair.
It's an interesting one because Chelsea fans want him out already. Like, people are done with Potter already, but I do have sympathy with him because I don't think he's wanted all the players that have come in. I think he's sort of gone, okay, I'll take him. I guess I'll take him. And he's got to blend. I think Chelsea have signed like 17 players or something like that.
It feels a very European style, which is he's a coach, he's not the manager. So the Spanish way, the Spanish way of doing it, going, that's your players, you make it work.
Well, apparently Bowley did this in America with the baseball team, just bought a shit ton of players. I was like, right, you just fit it all together. And I think he sort of like struggled to find a system that's got the best out of the players. I still think that injuries in midfield have not helped at all with Kante, Kovacic, as Zakaria picking up form. Then he got injured. Loftus-Cheek is playing in a double pivot with Enzo Fernandez.
That's because of injuries as well. That doesn't help.
Yeah, and plus Chelsea can't score goals, and Aubameyang being left out the squad. So, like, that's a real circus. But yeah, Potter's under some serious pressure because I got a feeling that he could get sacked soon. I just got a feeling because I know Chelsea came out and said that they want to, give him long term. But Bowley's already shown this season that he's more than willing to sack a manager because he sacked Tuchel. So Potter's under some serious pressure.
I think if they get knocked out by Dortmund, I think he goes.
Oh, but then who comes in to replace Potter? Like, who's going to walk into that mess?
Listen, how many years, and Patrick will probably agree, how many years have we said, who's going to walk that mess at Chelsea? There's always a Chelsea. I mean, you're never more than 3 people away from a Chelsea manager. So to be honest, being a Chelsea manager, it's a bit like, I think everyone's been one these days. It's like, well, if you get sacked, who cares? Everyone gets sacked by Chelsea.
Yeah, what rumours is that Poch just turned down the job, apparently. Rumours that Chelsea reached out to Poch and he was like, no, I'm not taking it.
That would make sense, because I think the way he likes to work is a similar style to like a Pep or a Klopp. He likes to build the squad.
What was the link? It was like Tuchel to come back.
What do you mean? He likes to build the way he wants to play. Yeah. If he went to Pep, his seven players that he doesn't want to pick, I don't think he'd work under that.
Oh yeah, but he just joins teams where they're already there. He doesn't really have to buy players most of the time. Maybe
so, but he's still he wouldn't be dictated to. That's what I mean.
Agree. Yeah, I agree.
So the only signing that's actually looked any decent is Buddy Shield at centre back, and João Felix has shown flashes, and Buddy Shield isn't even in their Champions League squad, which baffling because he's been solid since he's arrived.
I do think Enzo Fernandez will come good for them. Again, adapting to a league, but he
just needs to find the right midfield partner. He's just finding the different combinations. It's going to get the best out of everyone. I'm shocked he hasn't stuck with a back 3, but I guess 4-2-3-1 is the formation that he wants to play in. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, but I'm loving it. Like, I don't fear Chelsea at all. Like, they can spend as much money as they want. Just don't really see them as a threat until they get it sorted. But they can spend as much money as they want. I just don't see them as a threat for the title in a few years. I don't see them a threat for top 4 this season or even next season.
We'll see. Patrick, how are you seeing this game?
I really do. I mean, rate Potter as a manager. I mean, he was a manager at Brighton, obviously as a Palace supporter. I follow them very closely. I don't think they're going to fire him, honestly. I just think that from what I'm hearing, the contract they gave him, like a 6-year contract, is so cost prohibitive. I know Bodie's a billionaire and he's got a lot of money. I mean, the team over here, the Dodgers, won the baseball championship when he was the owner, as soon as he bought them. But I just don't see them firing him. I just think that if those players come good this season, no, they can't. They probably can't even qualify for Europa League this year. But you give that man time with those players, I think he'll be fine. As far as the match on Sunday with Spurs, he has to win that game. Not necessarily, again, not because I think he'll be fired. I just think that the pressure is just getting to him and getting to them. I think that Spurs are a very, very strange side. I do not rate them at all. They're better off, honestly, when a manager is unfortunately sick, because they play better when he's not even been in the dugout, which is very, very strange. I think Chelsea beat them 3-1.
Yeah, what do you think? I think the loss of Bentancur is massive for Spurs. Massive, I think he's been brilliant for them. He's been one of their best signings, and I think because of that, I think it makes it a little bit easier to get their back 3, which isn't the best. I don't think.
I just think it would be the most Spursy thing in the world to lose to a team that can't buy a win.
Exactly.
Literally buy a win. They've spent like 600 million to try and buy one win, and they can't do it. But yeah, no, I think Chelsea are definitely going to win that. I did see as well, Kante was back in training, so maybe that's.
He's going to play Liverpool in about 3 weeks' time, so that's why.
About to say, when are they playing Liverpool?
Then he's done again. Then he's done again.
Ready for us.
He's the ultimate player nemesis. N'Golo Kante. He's only fit for the Liverpool game.
And us. He only scores against us.
And he's always brilliant, which is really annoying. But
he's incredible. But I think Chelsea will win that. I'm not on the same boat as everyone else with Potter. That I don't really particularly. I really rate him. I think he done well with Brighton, but I think it's shown that when De Zerbi's got in there, they look better than when they were under Potter. I think their recruitment was incredible, and they've actually got quite a lot of good players. Brighton. I do agree with the fact that with Chelsea, I don't think he wanted anywhere near that many amount of players.
Yeah.
I think it's actually made it a harder job for him by having to potentially leave 20 professional national players on the bench, because that's what he's having to do every week. And I think it just creates so many more problems for him. I don't think he would have wanted it. And I think Todd Bowley's just running around spending money, seeing who everyone else wants and just buys them. And I just think it's, I think Chelsea will win, but I think both sides are pretty rubbish. So I just think Harry Kane's just probably the best player in the Premier League at the moment. So, so we'll see. But I think Chelsea.
Fair enough. I think I've got Chelsea 2-1 because it just feels that as well. Apparently, for Ant's put in the chat, the Klopp embargo section is out. I won't comment on it. I'll go and watch it first, because as I've learned, as we all learned, when you see what an aggregator puts on, they put the one line on, then you watch the actual press conference going, yeah, that's not actually the full context of the question.
I'm reading it now, and it's about finances if Liverpool don't get top 4. On Van Dijk's criticism, Klopp on Fabinho, input on transfers, John Henry's optimism of investment.
It's standard stuff that you all know, and
it's standard. Not going to say the actual truth, but we'll just keep you on a string until the summer.
But you say, what's the actual truth? Will Liverpool sign players this summer? Yes, they will.
Probably.
Will they be the players that everyone wants? Well, we'll wait and see.
Nope.
But this myth that they won't. Oh, don't get sure Liverpool won't sign one. But they will, because I think there's only one summer with Klopp we've never signed anyone. Now, whether they're the players you want, that's up to you. But the manager said what he said at the beginning of the season, which is he knew it'd be tricky to get players in. He knew what was coming, and he signed a new contract knowing that. So ultimately, you can't do too much sympathy for the manager. He knew what he was signing up for. So suck it up and get on with it and see what the summer brings. But worry about someone when the summer happens. There's games to be played, yeah? I don't know why people get so worried about, but I'll wait till I see it, because
top 4 race to win.
Well, hopefully. But all this calling the owners out, I'm not sure he is, really, because what he says in public, probably what he says privately, are probably very different things. Often tends to be the case. Right, let's go for the last game then. It's the late kickoff on Saturday, isn't it? It's half 7? It's Palace versus Liverpool. Liverpool have a decent record at Palace, but it's always a really, really tough game for us. To put into context, Liverpool's home form this season is the 4th best in the Premier League. Liverpool's away record is the 12th best in the Premier League. Their points where the big hole has been all season. Liverpool have only won 3 away games all season. And that is where if Liverpool are going to have any chance of staying in the top 4 races, they've got to start getting some results away from home. I don't really worry about Liverpool at home. In the league, they generally get it done. Away from home, it's just generally
been woeful.
Kev, I just don't know if Liverpool turns up away from home. And that's kind of how it's been all season, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I do think Palace will get some form of result, just because I'm a fan of Palace. I think that their only real issue is actually just getting the ball in the net. I think defensively they're good with Joachim Andersen and Mike Wehi. I think I like Tariq Mitchell as well. I think their midfield is good enough. I think Will Hughes looked a bit dodgy at times, but I'm a fan of Palace. And again, like Eze and all the boys, like Elise with that free kick he scored against us, like the talent's there. It's just about trying to figure out how to put the ball in the net. But I do also, as much as I hate doing it, I want to give Liverpool some form of credit that in the league they have looked better. They've won, I think, quite a few games on the bounce. I think I might be wrong.
2.
Yeah, that's
two.
Good.
That's good. It is good for us.
Yeah. And as much as obviously the game that shall not be discussed from Wednesday happened, or Tuesday, sorry. I think they'll give them a good game, but ultimately I think Palace will get some sort of result. Just because, like you said, Liverpool can't buy a win away from home. So,
unless you play Newcastle, but they don't count.
Yeah.
Or Spurs, ironic. Patrick, how is things under Palace? How is things doing under Patrick? Because the press have been quite quiet on him. Sort of feel like he's being slept on a little bit, because I think he's doing a very good job on a quite limited budget, and had issues with squad availability. But I think he's doing really well for you. Listen, you may get similar position to what you got in the Roy Hodgson, but you're bloody more entertaining to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I love Vieira as a manager. He just hasn't been back this season. Our biggest issue is that we don't have a deep enough squad. So, like right now, we're missing Wilf Zaha. He's been out the last 2 or 3 matches, and he's obviously our talisman, our top goal scorer. Probably going to leave at the end of the season. His contract's up at the end of the season. He's probably going to leave. And we've got, you guys mentioned, Kev mentioned, we've got players like Olise and Eze, young players. We've got Samuel Conga in from Arsenal on loan. Did a great job last week against Brentford, his first start for Palace. He signed a young kid from Germany, Nairu Ahamada, who's a young 19-year-old player who's also a central midfielder. We've had some problems then. We had Gallagher last year, and you know how well Gallagher played for us last year. Got him to the World Cup of England. That's how good he was for Palace. So it's been an interesting year. The season for me ended around the World Cup break because we lost to Newcastle in the League Cup. and we've been 12 pretty much ever since. We've basically been 12, like, I'm not even kidding, for like 9 straight weeks. We lose, we're in 12. We draw, we're in 12. We haven't won a game since we beat Bournemouth back around the end of December. We haven't won a game, but we had a very tough, last 6-7 matches. We played United twice. Got mentioned, we got the 1-1. We lost to them there. We've drawn against Newcastle. We drew against Brighton. We drew against Brentford. We played some top 8 sides and only lost United. We haven't won a game. So that's our biggest thing. Last week we were 30 seconds away from beating Brentford away, and we gave a goal in the 96th minute. I mean, it's been that kind of a season for us. But as far as Vieira, going back to Vieira, he's done a good job with a limited resource. He's done a very good job. I'm just hoping that, during the summer he's back a little bit more. We've got like about 6 players out of contract, so that will help free up a lot of money for us and opportunities for Vieira to bring in some more of his own players, and we'll go from there. But looking at that, tomorrow's gonna be a tough game. I'm looking at the schedule. We haven't beaten you guys since 2015, so that's a lifetime ago.
Ricky Lambert.
Yeah, we used to beat you guys all the time.
I know. when Ricky Lambert was playing up front for us.
Exactly. It's been a while, but I mean,
those heady days.
Those heady days, Ricky Lambert. Exactly.
Oh, God. It's like a flashback. It's like a flashback, that, isn't it? Oh,
I can't believe he's even owned Ricky Lambert. That is horrific.
Ricky Lambert, yeah. So,
bless. So, looking forward though, Patrick, in terms of if you were running Palace, what would you like? What do you think the manager would want to add to the squad or put into the squad next season?
Great question. So, clearly we need a new right back. We've got Nathaniel Klein, you guys would know well. He's in his 30s now. He's our starting right back. Probably shouldn't be, but we've got no choice, which is fine. Mm-hmm. He's backed up by Joe Ward, who's currently injured. I mentioned our central midfield. Again, when we lost Conor Gallagher last season, we lost a big part of what we did as far as a number 8 who scored goals and could press. So we need another central midfielder for sure. And you mentioned before, we can't score goals. We have a problem. We have Austin Edward, we've got from Celtic. He's got, I think, 3 goals in the league and 2 in the cups this season. He's got 5. Jean-Philippe Mateta scored like 6 goals last year, has 1 goal, hasn't scored since Villa, I think it was August. So our biggest problem, we can't score goals. So he's going to want a striker next season, definitely a central midfielder.
Zaha replacement.
And I'm going to get to that. And the biggest thing's going to be is replacing with Zaha, because not only does he score goals, he's been at our club since he was 17 years old. He's been at the club except for that little spell he spent at United. And he's going to be big to play. He's a big character, as far as in the team. He's also, the output's been great for us. I mean, I gotta say, he's our biggest goal scorer this season. He's not even a striker, but he's played there quite a bit. Even he scored against you guys in that first match, a great goal he scored against you in that first game, the 1-1. So that's going to be a bigger thing. So, I mean, you're going to replace Wilf, central midfielder, a striker, a right back. It's a lot. But again, like I mentioned before, we've got like 6 players out of contract. When it happened when he first came in, he brought in Anderson, he brought in Gahey, he brought in Michael Olise. Yeah, he brought in some decent players, which is smart. Right, he didn't spend a lot of money, but brought in some really talented players. And I hope he does the same thing this summer, because he's going to have to do it, honestly.
Yeah, it feels to me like if you're a young, up-and-coming player who's doing well, say, in the Championship, and you're ready for that next step into the Prem.
I agree.
It used to be go to Southampton.
Yes.
It was, because you go to Southampton, you'd learn your trade in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And that would eventually
get your big move.
You get your big move
yeah.
if you do well.
Yeah.
It feels to me now, if you're a young player and you want to get a Premier League gig, Palace seems the most stable one to go to, because, like you said, I know we said jokingly, you feel like you've been 12 all season, but it's like that takes the pressure, which is there's pressure because you need to maintain that, but there's not enough pressure that we're in a relegation battle. We can't try the kid out, but at the same time, it's not enough pressure. Well, we need to win every game because we want to get to Europe. I mean that'll ultimately what Palace's next step will be is can we start to be pushing up to do what Leicester had done a few years ago and other clubs have trying to get themselves into Europe like West Ham did. But it sort of feels like that's such a good unique selling point for you guys, and you've got a proven manager who likes to play young players and give them an opportunity, which a lot of managers say they do until the crunch hits. And let's be honest, when Palace had some crunch games, he's still throwing the youngsters in. He's not going, I'll go back to be tried and tested. He goes to, well, it's your shirt, you take it. So I must admit, I actually enjoy watching Palace play. If Palace are on telly, I will go and watch them. Under your previous manager, I'd rather stick pins in my eyes because it was just like watching paint dry. But
and that's the big thing. As a supporter, you want to be able to watch your team play. And again, Hodgson did a wonderful job of keeping us up, but the football was unwatchable. Palace aren't as good to watch this season as they were last season, because even last season, playing with Gallagher in the side, he just brought so much energy, and we pressed more last year. But I just feel like there are things that Vieira tries to do that I really, really like. He tries to play football. There is no, I mean, we did get a little pragmatic a couple matches ago against Brighton because we had to. We got the draw against them. But even last week against Brentford is flying this season. We took it to them. We really tried to play football. The Congo in there. I forgot to mention, we got Check the Corey in our midfield. We brought him from France. He's been brilliant as a DM. Oh, he's been a brilliant sign. I'm so glad. I know other teams are looking at him. I'm so glad they've gotten him. He's been brilliant this season. So having him, and you've got, like I said, you've got the Conga, Ahamada. You've got some players in that can kind of play. You know, it's exciting to think. But again, we're going to need to get more players in, because again, I don't want to name you. You got Milivojevic out of contract, James Tompkins, Jairo Riedewald. Pretty sure Klein is out of contract. Butland, who's on loan at United, he'll be out of contract. It's going to be like 6, 7, senior players are going to be out of contract. We're going to have that money, not only the salary wise, but the opportunity in the squad to kind of fill it in. So, exciting time if we do it the right way.
But there's a chance to get Gallagher back.
So again,
off Chelsea.
Please don't mention that man's name. No. I'm one of the players. I'm one of the people who we went through this. It ruined our first transfer market transfer window in the before, because we waited for him to come, and he wasn't going to come back for us. He just went back to Chelsea. We tried it again in January. Again, he didn't want to leave, and I don't blame him, even though he's not playing at Chelsea. Again, he's a child of the Chelsea kid, wants to play for them. But it's kind of our focus is on Gallagher, and I do like him as a player. I just want to move on from Conor Gallagher, because it just hasn't worked out for us if I wanted him back.
No, I get that.
If we got him back, and initially, of course, I would have taken him. But at this point now, we've got to move. Plus, they want like 35, 40 million for him. And I'm sorry, we can't pay that for Conor Gallagher. We just can't afford that.
No, not based on this season. Not based on this season.
Exactly.
So, Luke, Liverpool-wise, in terms of players out, Konate's back in training. I don't see him being in the squad, because I think Klopp said he's had 2 sessions. So,
yeah,
and he's come back from his second muscle injury. Obviously, he had the big knee injury at the start of the season, so he's going to be careful with him, I would say. I think Arthur Melo is due back next week.
Who?
You know who he is. I promise you, he will appear.
He barely played. That's all. Who?
Yeah. Well, he's played more than he's got a good. That 13 minutes he played was amazing. He was our midfield signing in the summer. Yeah. Well, him and Bajcetic. He was the other one. Gomez, I would assume, is out, because I think he tweaked his hamstring. I don't see him playing. So back four, going to have a bit of a shuffle. You would assume Matip will come back in for Van Dijk. I don't think he's going to play Phillips, because
not again.
Just don't. No.
Not again. Not against Palace again, like he did at Anfield.
And I don't think he'll change either fullback. I think he's going to rotate the fullbacks. I think that'll be at home to Wolves. I don't think he'll do it away from home.
No.
Midfield's the question, because I think he's going to have to rotate, because
I would drop one of Fabinho or Henderson. I just don't know who played,
or both even. Because to be honest, I was surprised he did the all. I know they've had a bit of rest beforehand, but I think getting them to do the same midfield three games back to back, I don't think that's going to happen. And also, the ultimate thing is we've got a game Wednesday with Wolves, and then we've got a United then the weekend after. So again, you have to rotate a bit.
Milner will get 60. And everyone's going to see Milner's on the team sheet. And I was going to go, oh, no, it's Milner. But I just, I know some people might say Elliott, but for me, I don't see him as a central midfielder. I see him as a wide option.
Or do Liverpool go, because we finally got some forwards fit?
Or maybe Curtis Jones, because he was on the bench. Oxlade-Chamberlain, is he on the bench? Or
he was on the bench. Or do we go 4-2-3-1?
Possibly, but I think Klopp's come back, sort of been wedded back to his 4-3-3, so and I can't really imagine him really changing from that at all. Really, I think that to the end of the season.
I think it'll be Henderson, Keita, and one other. I don't think Fabinho will start, because I think he's done 3 in a row, and he was a bit.
Probably Henderson,
him or Henderson or Fabinho. One of them will start. It's a flip of a coin which one starts, because they both look a bit leggy. If Keita doesn't start this one, I generally don't see what's the point of having him in the squad.
Klopp doesn't rate him. Klopp just doesn't like him. I just don't think he likes him. I think he's been wanting an opportunity to get him out, and I just don't think that the club got an offer that we'd be like, okay,
Have they
we'll
got-
let him go.
have
And
they
the
got-
fact is that we'll let him go on the free.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Bad planning. Bad planning.
Well, it is. It's two ways to look at it. It is bad planning, but they've known that for a while. I mean, let's be honest, he was paid off for a few years back.
I've known that for like the last 2 seasons. That, yeah.
But
crazy.
the flip side is, me and Kev discussed this. We could all say, and we all agree, certain players should have gone 2-3 years ago. Someone's got to buy him, and I don't think anyone put anything seriously in for them. You know, someone may have said, "I will take him on loan," or put a very small fee in, and Liverpool go, "Well, for that, I may as well."
The West Ham link and got injured in pre-season was like, nope, I'm going to be staying this last year.
Well, if you believe it, Ox turned down a chance to go to Newcastle last January. Apparently, the deal was there, it was offered to him, and he said, "I'd rather stay at Liverpool."
Wow.
If you offer them the contract, they don't want to leave, and they don't want to leave, and you can't pay a player off unless they agree to be paid off, because they could just say, "No, I'll just let my contract." So, this is why I think you will see some quite big movements for Liverpool in the summer, because there's literally players who are going to walk out the door, so they have to be replaced some way.
Wages, lots of them.
Yeah. So I think I'll punt for Henderson, but if it's Fabinho, one of them will start. I think Keita will start, and it's who the other one is, and I generally couldn't give a reason. I sort of feel Bajcetic might get a rest, only because, not because he physically needs it. I just think it's a mental drain, and you know, he's been really good. I think he should have been took for half-time in the Madrid game. I think he got a little bit deer in the headlights. I've been quite a few of them, but he's 18. Very talented lad, and maybe, you know, give him a game off. Who you put in, I don't know. In terms of the attack, I think Mo starts. I think Nunez starts. I think the middle one, if it could be Gakpo, because that front three sort of done quite well, or is this the game you give Jota a run? I actually think Bobby's now just going to be a bench option, just a bench sub all the time. But Jota, you know, he's not. I mean, amazingly, he's not scored for nearly a year now, which is a bit scary. Now, admittedly, in that year, he's only started 9 games, so that's also a fact. That's probably more of a fact that he hasn't started. He hasn't. Yeah, I'm sure
that's
Reddit.
Concerning. That is concerning.
He has been available for a lot more of those games, but he's been the first sub option. That's been the difference. But yeah, I generally can't pick a midfield. That's the one I can't pick.
It's flip a coin
for a few of them. Yeah,
with a few,
and that's probably where Palace will get some joy at the moment, because they're generally whatever midfield he picks, I think will be a little bit mix and match, and it won't be as coherent as we've had the last 3 or 4 games. So,
it wouldn't surprise you if like a Curtis Jones has a surprise start, because he made his appearance on the bench, and usually Klopp just likes to drop him in when he's fit. I think when we played Palace in lockdown away, I think he started the did all right. One where we beat Palace 7-0.
Yeah, I mean, Laszlo say Fabinho, Bajcetic, and then one of Milner or Elliott. Yeah, trust you can make an argument for about 4 or 5 different players. I think that's also the problem.
Where's Thiago in all this? Where's he?
Although he's got his annual treatment table set out.
He's pulled his hip flexor, so I think he's due back not next week, the week after. To be fair to him, this season he's not really missed that. He hasn't actually missed that much, realistically. So, you know,
because of the World Cup, so it just feels like it has been.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. But he's playing up until just before the derby. But again, I think that's another problem. We probably overplayed. I think we overplayed him because we had no one else to pick.
Yep. Oh yeah, we ran him into the ground.
But yeah, Kev Ball said, "Is Jones not injured again?" Don't think so,
no,
Kev.
He was on the bench in the Champions League. So
yeah, I think he just wasn't selected. I think for the Newcastle game, he just wasn't picked. He was on the,
I think I've seen that Curtis Jones is going to give him one more season at Liverpool. He's going to get one more opportunity.
Yeah, and if you say,
well, you know, Harvey had it. Why wouldn't he start?
He's not started that much recently. He's been coming off the bench a bit more.
Because he had a run, didn't he, where he was in the team quite a lot, and then I felt like he just completely disappeared. And I don't know why.
I think he's the only player featured in every game this season.
Yeah,
which for a youngster,
that's impressive.
It is. If you were saying needs to give Carvalho, Jackson, give Carvalho a chance.
I don't know what's happened to him. Like, he's played 6 minutes of football since the resume of the World Cup. I've got a feeling it may be a slight attitude issue. Because there was rumours that he fell out with the Portuguese under-21 coach for, just texting saying that he's bouncing, like he's not going to be bothering playing for them.
There is also a point of, there is also could be a very something. Maybe he's just really shit in training and he's just not picking him.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, if he's more of a forward option than a midfield option, if you're looking going, he's not getting ahead of he's probably at the moment not getting ahead of Salah, Gakpo, or Nunes. And realistically, Jota and Firmino are now fit. That's 5 attackers ahead of him.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, there's probably not. I just thought there's a space in the bench for him.
Unless you played like with a designated 10, then you could see an opportunity for him to play. But we're still playing 4-3-3, and even if we were playing that, it's not an automatic starter to play behind the striker.
I always thought he was a winger. I didn't think he was a 10.
He's not a winger. He's a number 10.
He's both. There's this myth that he never plays in the wing. I think what I've looked at when he's at Fulham,
he played a lot on the wing.
He played a lot left wing for Fulham. He can play as a 10 as well. So again, it's just one. I think it's just a nice reason. Oh, Klopp can play with 10, that's why he's not picking him. Maybe he's just shit. Maybe he's just playing shit. It could just be that Klopp's going, do you know what? You're shit in training. You're not doing what I want in games. You're not getting picked.
It was the same when the Spurs fans were moaning that Basuma wasn't starting, and then I saw a video with a few Brighton players, and there was asked, who's the best trainer? And then the guy that was asking the question was like, why not Basuma? And they both said, well, he's quite lazy in training. So if you imagine he went to Spurs, Conte doesn't like lazy trainers. See why he wasn't playing if he doesn't train hard.
Exactly. Yeah. Also, the other thing is he's a kid as well, so it could also just be adapted to new club. He's 20. It's just not quite working out. So he could have just been told you're not going to play much until the end of the season. Come back pre-season, we start again and get you ready. Because he definitely does need to bulk up a little bit. I would say because I think that's
a skinny little lad, and he's
but again, that happens to all players. I think Elliott's starting to do that because Elliott looks bigger than he did a year ago. I think it's just you have to adapt to men's football a little bit more.
Mesbury, that's why we loaned him out. He looked like a child still. Like we loaned him out as well.
Yeah. So, but Luke, go on then. Give us a score prediction, and you know the rules. Goal scorers as well, including the Palace ones.
I'll go 2 on Liverpool. I'll go Elise scores for Palace, and then I think Nunes and Salah will score for Liverpool.
Okay. Kev?
I'll go 1-1. I'll go Anderson, the header.
Forgot Anderson Nunes too.
Anderson Nunes too. That's brilliant.
The rematch we've all been waiting for.
And I will go. I'll go Salah because it seems like he's finally managed to figure out how to score a goal again.
Hey, what's he up to now? 23 goals and assists all season now. Not bad, though. Not bad for a shit season. Not bad for a shit season, no.
Not bad for a shite season.
Yeah. Patrick, what are you going for?
I want to be optimistic, but the record against Liverpool has been so... Now, I was trying to be optimistic because you guys have been playing so poorly, of late. And I was saying, okay, that's great. And then
Wolves were playing poorly, and then we gave them 3 goals.
It was a wake-up.
I know, but we're Palace. We're not Wolves. I wish I was Wolves. We have not won a game all season. On our channel, back in this, I actually did predict a Palace win, which I'm not going to do now because you kind of depressed me with some of your facts about some of your players coming back. I'm worried about Salah. We've drawn it. All right, I'm going to go with a draw. I'm going to go 1-1. Mo Salah to score for Liverpool. I need a Palace scorer.
That's what I was struggled with. That's why I went Anderson.
SA scored last week.
What happened to the lad who's played for you? Is it Mateus?
Mateta.
Yeah.
He's not gonna.
He's been awful.
Is it?
He's got one goal all season.
I was going to say, he's just got off the ball because last year he looked
decent last year.
He looked more impressive last year, but I just don't know. I obviously don't watch past regulators.
Palace fans are going to hate me for defending him, but he hasn't started as many games as people would think. He's only started like 7 matches. He's coming a lot as a second half sub and doesn't do a lot. He just has been out of form again. He hasn't, and the system that we play doesn't suit him. We actually put balls in the air, and he's not a big header of the ball as big as he is. So the best striker we have is Austin Edward, but he's been in and out. I don't know what's going on him and Vieira. He doesn't start. He'll probably start hopefully tomorrow. But actually, having said all this, I want to pick Austin Edward to score tomorrow because he's actually our best pure goal scorer next to Will. Plus also training, but probably won't play. So.
Plus, if you haven't scored for a while, just come play us because we're
quite
good at giving you a chance.
I work against Palace all the time. You haven't scored in a while, play Palace and hopefully it works in reverse. So yeah, I'll take that. I'll say Edward score tomorrow.
Yeah, Bonkers has gone 2-1. Schlupp, Nunes, and Joseph.
That's a decent shout.
Kev's gone 2 clean sheets on the bounce, 2-0 away win. Kev, you
bounce.
Yeah.
I seem to remember 5 goals on Tuesday.
He's not counting the Leeds. League
Yeah.
game. Come on, league.
In the league, the Everton
There is no
2-0 and
Champions
Newcastle
League in
3-0.
Liverpool's mind right now.
I'm joking. It's the only way to chuck it in.
Exactly.
Yeah, we'll have you when Carrier scores the winner.
Dragula.
You gotta go there, haven't you? See, I also had 2-1, but I can't do the same as Luke because that's boring.
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Just go 3-1 then.
3-1. That means we'll score 3 goals away from home.
Just to be a bit, just to go to the wheels of mythology. Then let's go 3-2.
Whoa.
So I like that.
Wow.
Bit of
Don't do
sauce.
this to me.
Yeah. So it'll be Salah, Nunez, and
Trent.
no, it's something different. Van Dijk will. Oh, let's go Van Dijk, and then for Palace we'll go Schlupp because it was the one that was said, and Elise.
Oh, Lisa, there you go.
There you go.
At least he's still
So-
got that £35 million release clause in his contract in the summer. Has
Allegedly.
that been taken out?
Allegedly, yeah. Allegedly.
I'll take that.
Some
Don't
club,
you dare think about
yeah.
that either, by the way. Don't think about it.
some clubs have got to be knocking on the door there, surely.
Do not think about that.
Don't think I would say with Palace. If you do deal with Palace and you want to get a player, you do pay for the nose. They are fairly going to get the fees.
Oh,
I will
Not
give them that.
if Elise's got that release clause, then he'll be snapped up at 35 million.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Just a rumor. I heard it's not true.
You hope.
Right, listen. Before we go, Kev, where can everyone find you?
Just my at, obviously down below on all the socials. If you like football, if you like FIFA as well, maybe. Yeah, I'm always about posting stuff. So yeah. Oh, and obviously I come on here every now and then as well, so it's always good fun.
Yeah, you're the only United fan we like, to be fair.
I'll take that.
Patrick, where can everyone find you?
I'm a proud member of the Back of the Nest family, so you can find us on our YouTube channel, Back of the Nest, and we have a podcast that comes out, do a preview and a review show, so that can be found on Spotify, App, iTunes, or your favorite podcast outlets.
Fair enough. Oh, random question then. Let's do a random question before we go.
Random.
Kev, if you could interview anybody, who would you like to interview?
What, past or present? Anyone?
Anyone.
Bobby
Anyone.
Charlton.
Cool.
He is my absolute hero. So,
Luke, apart from Deadpool, because I know you love Wrexham, who else would you like to interview?
George St. Pierre,
Ooh, nice one.
my
Patrick?
MMA goat.
He is brilliant.
Muhammad Ali,
Mohammed Ali.
one of my heroes. Yeah, Muhammad Ali.
Oh, Chris, you answer the question. So who would
Ian
you like
Wright.
to interview?
Ian Wright. I'd
Wright,
love to.
yeah, he's
I'd love to have a pint with Ian Wright. I just think
Yeah.
I just think he'd be great. And I'm not saying it because Patrick's here. I've said it in a few shows. I just think Ian Wright would be brilliant to interview.
Funny you
So,
say that because
With-
he was over in America at the NBC Fan Fest, and a mate of mine got him to sign my
Awesome.
one of my Palace tops here. Yeah, I got it. Yeah,
Oh,
so,
awesome.
yeah. He's a
Oh,
great
yeah.
guy. Ian Wright's a legend. Yeah, he's a legend.
Oh, they're the only pundits I can stand to listen to.
I love Micah Richards though as well. He's brilliant.
The other one would be quite good to be Ali McCoy as well because he, like Ian Wright, hasn't lost his enthusiasm for football. He just actually
Thierry Henry.
they just sound like they enjoy football, which I sometimes think. I think some pundits have forgotten that bit. Also, for sad news before we go, John Motson passing away.
Yeah.
Very sad. A very iconic voice. You know, I remember the 06 final. I was there. I've seen the highlights. His commentary for that is ridiculous. You know, he sort of make certain goals. Certain commentators make goals, and he did have that ability of making a goal feel even more special. Just, you know, commentators, when they get it right, can really make a goal extra special.
Yeah.
What's your anyone got any special Motti commentary moments?
Oh, easily. 1990 semi-final, 4-3, Villa Park.
Good man.
Palace 4, Liverpool 3.
I don't have any specific moments, but I would say that he's the only one that made me feel a certain type of way about football. Like Peter Drury's is now the other one, but he really made you feel things like emotion when you watched a game. And
Like you're there.
There's not been anyone
Makes
since
you like
Peter
you're
Drury
there.
that done that. So he's an absolute legend. So
The other thing I quite liked about him was he got the balance perfect in his peak of, unlike some commentators, he clearly does his research and clearly knows
Talking
what
about
he needs to
Martin
know.
Tyler, right, Chris?
But what he also doesn't do is he doesn't drop his research all the time into all the commentary. It's
Yes.
he does his research, and I bet he has 2 pages of research, and he uses 3 lines. But they're the 3 lines for the key moment of the
If you remember.
and the context of the game. That's perfect. Not just randomly throw a stat in when you're going. That means nothing to the game, though. It's not fucking relevant. That player's not even playing. Well, what's the point? You know, he had that, but Kev summed it perfect. He made you feel the moment. You know, you felt part of the moment. You know, and that the best commentators. There are some goals. So I see the Gerrard go. I hear the Gerrard scream from Motson. That's the voice I hear in my head. You know, that's what that's what he does. Peter Drury is another example of he does that for certain goals. When he says it, you just go,
We God in Rome.
Yeah.
Rome
He's like Shakespeare. Him, he's incredible.
He must write that out before it. Like, he must have like what he might say if this person score. Apparently, he doesn't. He just goes all off the dome.
Even if he does, it's knowing when to use it as well.
When to use it, timing and everything. 100%.
Brilliant. So, listen, thanks so much for coming on, guys. I'm sure we'll have you on again soon. For everyone, if you can like, subscribe, keep an eye on the bell icon, and we are back tomorrow. I think it's me and Kev. I don't think there's any cats this time doing post-match reaction. And then on Sunday we've got Fatback 4 with Gav and the guys, and then we start the loop all over again. Till then, take care. Speak to you soon.
Peace.